Good morning. How are you?
Good morning, good evening. I'm fine. Doing well.
Oh, it's the end of a week that has been much like a circus around here, so I'm not sad.
Okay, so hopefully things will be getting better then over the
Yes,
weekend.
and calmer.
Yeah,
Specifically calmer,
good,
that's
good.
Hi guys, good morning, good evening. Hi Lucy.
How are you?
Fine, thank you.
Yes.
Yeah, I think we have, let's wait for one more minute and then we can get started. Sunny, can you please, Lucy, can you please start taking the roll calls, please?
Yes, indeed. Let me just go through. Come on, friend. That's not what I wanted to do. There we go. Okay. So do we have Sandeep on the line? Just going to run through the names quickly. Aaron or Errol? Daniel or Mark Alexander?
Yes, okay, sounds here.
Sandip or Chandra? Eric? I talked to Bernard. Oleg? Karen? Sanju?
Yep, I'm here.
Good morning. Sanju or Ravi? Oh, please talk.
Yeah, Ravi's here.
Perfect. Candon is here. Kathy or Sundar? Sebastian?
Yes, I'm here.
Thank you. Jane? I see, but I can't hear you. Timo? thought I saw earlier.
Yeah, here.
Eric,
Which one?
DeBow, sorry.
Yeah, yes, I'm there. I'm there.
Sana,
Sana is here.
thanks. Fabrizio, Jean, Hunor or Padma, Ian or Ricardo, and then Ben. Great.
Yeah, Jane pinged on the chat as well, so she is here.
Okay, perfect. And I believe we have quorum, looking at 9, 10, 11.
Okay, awesome.
Yes,
So let's go to the agenda, please.
absolutely.
You can actually start with the antitrust policy, then you can go to the next one. I think you have an update on the Zoom call as well. Go ahead.
Yes. So this is the antitrust policy notice. It covers our applicable laws around antitrust and competition law. If you have any questions with regard to antitrust, you're welcome to reach out to your respective legal counsel or to our legal counsel, and we are happy to provide answers to any questions you may have. Okay, so I think at least some of the SIGs have already started to utilize Nephio's dedicated pro Zoom account. It looks like the TSC Zoom meetings have been relatively stable for the time being. However, I would also offer up, we can utilize the Nephio's dedicated pro Zoom account instead of LFX, if that makes people more comfortable. I wanted to put it out there that it is available for use for any of the SIGs or other community meetings, as well as the TSC. And with that, I will pass it over to you, Camden.
Thank you. So let's go to the slide itself. So folks, we discussed about the different timing for this TSC call, and there was a poll that Lucy has sent out, and there is really 3 equal selection has been done by people, and there is no clear winner on the timing. So with that said, we have Wednesday, Thursday, 7 a.m. PST, and I think there are some people already complained about having that sort of conflicting with other TSC calls in other community. And we also have a Thursday 10 a.m. PST. Given that there was a Thursday 10 a.m. PST, there was a little bit of more people, I think 1 or 2 votes were higher. So with that said, so I think, if no concern in moving the call to 10 a.m. PST, then we can actually try that one and see whether that works for all. Anybody has any concern in moving this to Thursday? Again, this is based on the voting that everybody all provided. So it's a higher voting. And I think we can push it to the 10 a.m. PST. Hopefully this is not a problem for our European friends. Again, this is like a 1 hour push from the current timing. So if I don't hear any objection, then we'll go for the Thursday 10 a.m. PST. So this will be a 1 hour.
I have a conflict on Thursday, but the Wednesday is not working.
Yeah, see, I think right now this is the highest voting, but we can also push for Wednesday. But Wednesday, I don't know actually, is that we have been using Thursday because this is sort of like a working good for many people. So Honor, if you could actually figure out, like some sort of adjustment on the other calls, I would appreciate it because a lot of people have voted for this particular one. Okay, I think we will try for Thursday 10 a.m. PST, and we will take it from there. Okay, so Lucy, you can change the timing for the call to 10 a.m. PST. And I think we can try from the next call itself. Okay.
That sounds perfect.
Thank you, I appreciate it. So let's go to the next agenda item, please. So we have shared the ECCLA, and this is based on the standard CLA that the Linux Foundation has been using on other community. And Scott was on our call like the last couple of times, and he actually clarified it. And on the last call, we agreed that we are giving like almost 2 weeks plus time for people to review it and sort of vote onto it and accept this particular the language that was sent out by Lucy and Scott. And we also provided the link in the wiki page where it is actually stored. With that said, anybody has any question? Scott is not on the call here, but if it is a general question, we can actually answer. If it is not, if nobody has any question, then I want to call a motion to approve this CLA and the process itself for our community. And that would be adopted once it is approved. Anybody has any question? Or anybody has any?
So Kandan, this is sorry, I joined late.
You're breaking up. I don't know.
Are we proposing CCLA or ICLA?
See, I think ICLA, CCLA is like it's sort of a selection that the people will do from a company perspective. Either it is an individual or it is a company-based one, right? I think it's it's not either or not. Actually, I thought it was both. Sorry, Scott is not here to clarify that, but my understanding is that it is more of a difference. Either it is an individual person signing it or a company signing it. So that's the difference, but the language is actually almost the same other than, but I think it's up to the people, right? Sometimes like the people may just sign for themselves or the company may sign it for them. But I think it's both.
Yeah, so it's either.
So we could choose, so we could choose one or the other.
Okay, so Kota, you're saying something. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to clarify that a little bit. There is, it's either ICLA for everyone or it's CCLA with ICLAs for individual contributors. And it really boils down to whether the TSC decides that, and the companies involved decide that contributions made to the project will be from the companies themselves or from individuals. And there's legal nuances there that, you know, Scott should probably clarify, but that's generally how it's done. But yeah, there's, as far as the tool, EasyCLA can manage CCLAs and ICLAs. So it's basically ICLAs for everyone or CCLAs managed by the companies and ICLAs for individual contributors.
Yes, I think that's a good clarity. Is that answer your question, Balaji? I think Balaji was asking question, I guess.
Yes, so basically we could, because I took it up to our legal, they easily approved ICLA, but they're still reviewing CCLA. So basically we could and start contributing, right?
Yes. It's a similar scenario in many companies, like individually, you can actually contribute using the individual license.
Yeah, the question to ask your company is, will contributions made to the project be on behalf of the company or on behalf of the individual? And if they are, you know, on work time and they are, and the company wants to manage them, the contributions based on, you know, the contributions from the company, then then CCLA should be chosen.
Yeah, and from the adoption of this particular language and adoption of this document and the process remains the same, irrespective of you know, how your company would have selected or how individually how you would have selected. So what we are voting is like, we're not forcing anybody to pick one or either. It's absolutely their choice. What as a TSC we are doing here is adopting this process so that we have an approved process that a company or an individual make a decision how they want to use it, and then they use the EasyCLA tool to do that. So with that, I think if there are more questions, we can wait for Scott. Is like I think he will join around in another 30 minutes. If there are more questions, I think I would just wait for Scott to come and answer it. But if there are no more questions, I think there are hand raised. Go ahead, Vishwanath.
So my question real quick, what is Google doing? Are they doing CCLA on this? Just curious.
I don't want to
okay.
mention that on this call here. So it's our vision to decide.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
And Tal?
Yeah, I just wanted to point out that historically in CNCF and I think also in Linux Foundation projects, individual contributors have been important. We've had people who are either graduate students who are not necessarily associated with a company or others, people from startups and other places that might be unable to do a CCLA. So I just want to put a note in that the ICLA is important, and I hope we do not remove it. Thank you.
We are not removing it. I think I want to point out very clearly. So selection that people will make it. So process-wise, both will be available through the ECCLA. It's up to the people to decide which one they would actually endorse it.
Excellent. Thank you.
And Sundar, please.
Yeah. So Intel Legal is okay with both forms, but one question I have is, what's the next step? If you approve either of these, do we need to get a signed form from the legal back to Nephio or LF?
So I think the process would be, primarily the process would be, we would, TSC, we will adopt it.
Mm-hmm.
Then the ECCLA will be put forward by the Lucian team. And individually or as a company, you can actually work with the Lucian team to get that signed using the ECLA as a tool.
Okay, got it. Okay. Thanks.
Okay. Anybody has any other legal question? Unless like I want to call for a motion for voting.
Just before we do, sorry, is this all the great clarification that's been provided here? Is that documented anywhere so I can send it to my legal team?
We did actually share that on the TSC email thread, Jan, and it's also in the wiki page. And Lucy actually put the wiki link again to Jan, please.
Yeah, I was just looking. I've just been looking at the TSC Slack channel. That's all. So if it's somewhere else, if you can direct me to that, that would be fantastic.
I can send that.
Definitely.
Thank you.
Yeah. So with that clarification provided, what we are calling here is the process to adopt what the Linux Foundation has proposed to us, and including the ECCLA process. But again, this is the standard process that they have been using it. With that said, I call for a motion. As a TSC, we would approve and adopt this process. And it's really up to the individual and the company to sign it. And as a community, we will adopt this process. Can somebody second it? I think you guys are talking mute, I guess, Sana, or somebody can second it.
I second that, Kandan.
Thank you, Sana. And if there is no concern, then we would take it as anonymous approval. If anybody has a concern or abstaining the vote, please raise your hand now, unless we will assume that this is approved. Okay, given that nobody has raised a concern or abstain vote, and we have majority, so with that, Lucy, this has been approved, and I think you can work with Scott to adopt this process.
That sounds excellent.
All right, thank you guys, really appreciate it. So let's move to the next item. So I just want to give we talked about this like the last couple of calls, and the Linux Foundation is currently in the process of like doing some documentation around and on establishing the board for our community. And once the details are worked out, we will bring it back into the TSC for the discussion. And the goal is that around the March timeframe, we will start recruiting for members for this community. But we would come back with additional details, and once that discussion starts with the Linux Foundation. With that, let's go to the next agenda item, please. Yeah, so let's start with the SIG network. I think Kaushik probably is not on the call. Sana, I think you are on the call. Can you please provide an update, please?
Yes, Kandan, I will. Can you guys hear me well?
Yeah, we can. Please go ahead.
Okay, perfect. So for the SIG ARC, we published a document which has the user journeys for release 1 and some detailed description on how every organization is approaching the process of onboarding the applications from the user stories perspective. So the forms are actually shared, and the access is also open this morning by Kaushik to everyone. So everybody in the community, please go in and submit your feedback into the form. This will eventually help us arrive at the common denominator on how do we approach to solve the 3 user stories that are targeted for release 1 based on everyone's input and how they consume the automation templates from Nephio or other automation tools at the moment. So that's where we are in the community. That's the focus, Kandan, for this week and the next.
Could you just share also the link here? It's much easier to.
Yes, I will share the link, and it's open to the SIG ARC and SIG automation members. If you don't have access, just ping us on one of the Slack channels and we'll open the access for you. That's it for the SIG ARC update. If there are any questions, feel free to ask. I'm going to post the link here in 1 second.
So Sana, is that are you expecting the document to be reviewed, or would you? I mean, I haven't gone through the document, or is it like you are expecting us to put some kind of user stories from our end in the scope of our end?
Okay, so I will explain that. If you are a service provider who are potential customers for Nephio, then it's good that you have a chance to put an update in the form of your process on how you consume the automation tools within your organization. How does the current onboarding process looks like? If you are a vendor or some external member of the community, you can ask questions on the existing feedback. I think that would help us converge the user journeys for release 1.
Okay, sure, got it. So okay, got it. That clarifies the scope. Thank you.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
Thank you, Sana. Really appreciate it. Anybody has any other question or anything to add on the Signet ARC? Okay, so with that, let's go with the SIG automation. John and Wim.
Sure. We've been meeting, I guess, a couple updates. One is we elected to meet twice a week starting next week because we're really focused on trying to make progress towards R1. So our current goal is to iterate on the sort of identify gaps in the workshop proof of concept versus the user stories presented from Signet Arch. And we started that process yesterday, and we're planning to get, we're targeting getting a concrete execution plan together before the next TSC call, which would include, the specific components that we plan to build in R1, milestones for the functionality and different functionality that gets into those different milestones, the deliverables, as well as asks from SIG release around build pipelines and things like that. So that's we got a lot of work, but our goal is to be really in execution mode on R1 for by the time of the next TSC meeting. The thing that's going to fall out of that, though, is a better understanding of our resource needs. And so from a TSC perspective and your respective companies, perhaps in the next meeting, we'll know what our resource commitments we have from our different contributing companies and individuals are, and we'll see if we have any additional asks with respect to that. So Wim, did you have anything to add?
Nope.
I think you covered it well. Yeah, nothing to add for me. Yeah, and lots of work, but I think we are going for it. Yeah. So.
Okay, so thank you. I appreciate it. SIG release. I don't know, Tina and Stephen, are you on the call? Stephen, I think you are.
Yeah. So for SIG release, we've been talking about Prow. It's been running for a while. So one of the things we're trying right now is take some of the ONE Summit release code, well, actually VIMs, and then try to add unit tests and see whether or not we can run this pre-submit over Prow. So that's one of the trial runs. The other thing is to talk about the network, the underlying network architecture that we can use on our CI platform. So that's the thing we use on ONE Summit that will migrate into Nephio CI, and then we would like to see, because we're kind of bounded by what this can do in terms of what we can demonstrate. So we would like to see what we can do actually on the networking front in terms of infrastructure setup for the automations. So that's actually ask for SIG release to ask from SIG release for SIG 2.2. So that's actually pretty much what we'll be doing. Is there anything from Tina, or is Tina here? Okay, so that's all.
All right, so thank you guys, I appreciate it. Let's go to the next one. I think we missed one slide, I believe, on the events. Yeah, I just want to give a quick update on the KubeCon. I think MWC, we already talked about it. I think we're going to skip the event there. KubeCon, we tried our best. I think it's getting very hard to secure a space right now. Looks like we have to skip this year and sort of a plan like early on for the next year. But definitely, I think we'll find another opportunity to have a face-to-face meeting. And let's explore. If anybody has any suggestion, we can do that, unless I will come back with some certain suggestion that, of course, we will do one in ONES. But for the spring season, I think I will come back with a proposal. And if anybody has any proposal, please let us know. John, I think you have your hand raised.
Yes, I just wanted to say there is, at the KubeCon in Amsterdam, there will be Cloud Native Telco Day. I know some community members have expressed an interest to submit something for that, and so I would certainly encourage that. You can coordinate on the Slack channel if you want to look for co-speakers or anything like that. The deadline for the CFP for that is the 12th, I believe. I plan to be at KubeCon right now. I can't guarantee I'll be there, but that's my current plan. I suggest we do what we did for the previous KubeCons, which is, or the one in Detroit, which is we put something on the wiki where people can give their contact info if they're interested in meeting up with folks, as well as the dates they'll be there. So I think that at least we could have some face-to-face time.
Okay, thank you. And Timo, do you want to share quickly on the DNTF? We can't hear you, Timo.
Okay, now you can, I hope.
Yes, we can. Yeah, perfect.
Good. So, yes, February 13th to 16th, there is going to be the developer and testing forum hosted by Linux Foundation Networking. Lucy, or whoever is the host, or can I share quickly?
Yes, bear with me for 1 second.
Thanks. I think it may be okay. Maybe it's easier. I hope this is now visible.
Yes, it is visible. Please go ahead.
Okay, so I posted on the chat the link to this page. So it's a wiki page where we have all the topics for that event. And currently for Nephio, the topics that are proposed, you can find here. So we have kind of overall introduction. They are not in very nicely ordered, but there is an introduction. There's about things about the release, things about the use cases, and things about things that relate to network architecture SIG, things that relate to release SIG, and things that relate to automation SIG, as well as the demo opportunity to show what we have available. So those are up there. Currently, there are kind of random estimations of how much time each of these would require. That can be changed. And you also find, some of you will find your names attached to the topic. So that's the assumption that that you will be able to talk about those topics. In addition to those, we have a few other Nephio-related topics. I believe they are proposed, all of them by other networks, but I think that kind of shows that there is interest to Nephio in that LFN community. So I think it would be a very good for this Nephio community if we are able to explain what we are doing, what we are planning to do, and kind of have a dialogue with the other projects that are kind of close by. Then just one thing, in Linux Foundation networking, they have this what they call 5G super blueprint, and there's still an additional one talking about Nephio, or having a question around Nephio. So I think that just kind of serves as a proof that interest is there, and now there is the opportunity to tell people what Nephio is about, rather than them just guessing what it is. So we don't have yet, we haven't put them yet on the actual agenda, so we don't have exactly the timing of these. The event will be from Monday, 13th of February to Thursday, 16th of February, and it's going to be early day for the West Coast US, and very late for Asia, approximately 5 hours during that PST morning time. So all the presentations, all the talks will land there on one of those days. And I think at this point it would be interesting to understand which of the days during the week, or which day during the week it would be most suitable to talk. It probably would be best if they all would be on the same day. So that's probably something that we would need to agree. Maybe not as a TSC, but for those who would need to be presenting. So that's it, I think, unless there's questions.
Thank you, Timo.
One quick question here, Sana. I had a preliminary knowledge about the Linux Foundation Testing and Development Forum from TAC, and I learned that it's starting at 5 a.m. And I think you mentioned that as well.
Yeah.
When do you think we will have a slightly clear understanding on which days these presentations are falling, specifically for Nephio topic, and the time slots for this?
Yeah, yes. So the program committee will have a meeting tomorrow, Friday, kind of morning Pacific time, and there we will be deciding kind of exact start time of the day for all of those 4 days, and the duration. So it may shift later from that 5 a.m. For the Pacific people, but it may be that it sits there. So that's unfortunate, of course, for people there, starting really early. About the day, as I said, I think we do have a say about that. So I think we can ask for any of the days during that week from Tuesday to Thursday. Monday is reserved for kind of plenaries and common interest topics. I believe that is kind of taken. So Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, I think we can make suggest which one would fit best for us.
So Timo, do you know actually how many people will attend the sort of session?
How many people attend?
Yeah,
so I think it's, I don't have the historic data, but it is I think it has been in neighborhood of 100, give or take. It's a little bit difficult because this during the recent past 2 years, it has been kind of changing a little bit, but I think around that number. It of course depends on the day as well, and on the agenda of the day, what attracts people's interest and so forth. John?
Yeah, I mean, my main concern is, right, we have a lot of work to do preparing for R1 over the next 2 weeks, and this falls right around the same time we're targeting getting our goals, getting that work done. So it's going to be challenging. I mean, we could potentially, like the demo, we could present basically the same thing we did in the workshop.
Yeah, I think that would be perfect. I mean,
try to minimize the level of effort that we have to put into these, because at least for me, I spend a lot of time preparing for these type of things.
Sure, understood. And I think kind of trying to manage the expectation level here, it is up to us what we want to and can share. So it's like we can decide, and it doesn't have to be like there's 60 minutes for the introduction, or 60 minutes for this what I call selected technical topics, which is the kind of automation SIG topics. It doesn't have to be 60 minutes. There might be also, so I think whatever we can provide for the event, that would be highly appreciated.
Are these pre-recorded, or are we doing these live?
Live.
I think it's live, and the recording will happen at the same time, so that all those live sessions will be accessible offline as well.
Yeah, they will be made available then later. That's true. Thanks, Anna.
Right.
Okay, thank you.
And I had one more question, that since Feb 13th is not too far, maybe there should be one internal meeting or somehow sync up with the presenters on how they're bringing in slides and how the slides can be put together. I think it's
organize
evolving.
that. I can organize that easily.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks.
Let's do so. Very good proposal. Thanks.
I had a second thought, Kandan. Since we did this in one summit, and since Timo is helping us organize to do something very similar for this testing and development forum, which is extremely well advertised by Linux Foundation at the moment, and they're trying to make it very successful. They're also working on making sure that a lot of European people could actually attend, because this has a conflict with Odin Alliance at the same time. So they are making sure that people from European side can also attend. So this will have a good audience reach, I'm suspecting at this time. There is a very similar conference coming in Vancouver called OSSNA. And I'm presenting there on OSPO and some other things, and it's local, it's based in Vancouver. I was thinking, just keep it at the back of your mind, if there's a possibility of doing something remote, virtual, we could reuse all this existing effort that we have done for this session and could do something similar for the OSSNA. And the CFP is closing this weekend. I'm going to forward you the link here. And I did see that Google is a gold partner for this conference as well. So think about it, Kandan. Without doing a lot of effort, maybe we could extend the reach to Vancouver on that conference as well.
Sure. Thank you. Thanks for the heads up.
Perfect.
All right. So thank you guys. Appreciate it. So let's go back to the agenda, please.
Okay, made it through here. I do know that Scott is on the line if anybody has any remaining questions with regard to the CLA.
Hey,
Otherwise,
everybody, good to be here today. If at any point you do have if you do have questions or you want to talk through the process that the EasyCL team will follow, CLA team will follow, don't hesitate to reach out to us.
Yeah, so Scott, I think we did actually owe to adopt the process and adopt the documents. And I think one question that really came up, and we sort of concluded on that. So bottom line is that the individual as well as the company level CLA both are adopted. So it's up to the company or the individual to decide which one to sign. Hopefully that is the right assumption. So we just want you to confirm that.
Sure. So what we'll typically do is we'll have individuals sign in the case that they're self-employed. If they're employed for another organization, we'll want that organization to sign up. The CCLA agreement is a little bit different in that what we want to enable is effective control of who is authorized to contribute under any one company's CLA in a really easy manner. So what we'll do with the CCLA is when an organization is signing the CCLA, they will designate one or more CLA managers in that sign-up process. And this will all be clearly explained in the sign-up process for the CLA. They'll designate one or more CLA managers, and a CLA manager is an employee of a company that is authorized to update the list of those developers that can contribute under the company's CLA. And so let's say you have 5 individuals, self-employed developers that are participating, and you have, I'm just making up numbers here, 50 developers that are employed by 10 companies, 5 per company. Each of the companies would sign a CCLA, and those companies would have a CLA manager, each to their own, of course, who would then list the 5 developers within the organization that would be contributing. The individual self-employed developers would just sign their own CLA. And that's the structure that EasyCLA follows, and it works pretty well. And if someone were, for example, to try to contribute to a project and hadn't signed a CLA, they'd be prompted to go talk to their CLA manager or sign an ICLA if they were self-employed.
Thank you, Scott. I think that clarified.
No problem.
Thank you. I appreciate it. All right, everyone. Thank you very much. And let's meet on February 16. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks. Bye.
Thanks. Bye.